welcome back to Alice Talks Football and welcome back to another live Manchester United news, transfer news and update show. In today's live, we're going to discuss why Manchester United are going to have to do things very differently this summer. Elliot Anderson, Manchester City want him. Manchester City will probably get him. Adam Wharton, there's a feeling he's going to go to Liverpool. Carlos Baleba has fallen off a cliff. What are Manchester United going to do with a name? Mateus Fernandes of West Ham. If they get relegated, he could be available for a good fee. We've also been linked to fullbacks. We've also been linked to wingers. We spoke about Njai yesterday. He's obviously said very positive things about Manchester United, but the youth, Manchester United need a lot of midfielders. And I think if we're in Europe next season, the need for that is more. Do we look at a Jim Thwaites? Do we look at a Sekou Kone? We'll talk about all the latest on that. Romano said that as of now, he said he's not aware of anything concrete between United and Alexis McAllister, so no shock there. Oh, sorry. I've got a bit of a cold, so I don't know how long I'm going to be live for because my throat is on fire. I'm going to sneeze and I'm going to sniffle, so I do apologise. And I know what you're thinking. Alice, didn't you have a cold like 3 weeks ago? Yeah, I did. I've got another one. I have not been ill for like 2 years. I swear I've been ill twice in like 2 months now. I don't know. But we were linked to McAllister yesterday. Obviously, we all knew it was kind of a load of BS and a load of made-up stuff. Romano's kind of confirmed that. Also, we will talk about Vitek and goalkeeping plans for next season. Could Vitek come back in and more? So, yeah, I do apologise if I'm a bit sniffly and my voice is weirder than normal in today's video. But we will get through the news. We will get through everything. And I want to talk about our plans before anything, and why they need to be different, and also get into the live chat and more. For me, it was never Anderson or bust. I think we'll be fine with the other targets. For me, I really like Elliot Anderson, but if we missed out on Elliot Anderson and we went and signed Tonali and Mateus Fernandes, I ain't going to complain one bit. I think the thing is, if you miss out on Tonali and Anderson and Wharton and Mateus Fernandes, then you're thinking, oh, do we look abroad at Manu Kone? Look, I like Elliot Anderson. He would be my number one if I was in charge, but I don't think we're going to get him. And that's why we have to talk about why we're going to have to do things differently. But I do think there's some good players out there. I think Baleba have gone off a little bit. It depends on the price. I still think he's a good player. Look, I would love Sandro Tonali. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not confident we could get Sandro Tonali. He may leave Newcastle. I think he'd probably want to go abroad. I don't know if he'd want to leave Newcastle for Man United. Sandro Tonali would be one that I'd love. An Academy lab stepping up at least for depth option at centre mid would be a bonus. Kone's ceiling's very high. And the way I'm looking at it right now is, you sign 2 top-level midfielders and a Jimmy Thwaites or a Kone steps up. It's not the end of the world. And also, you've got players like Mazraoui that have played centre mid, Leach that's played centre mid at worst case scenario, but then it just takes them out of their better positions. So there is definitely options that you can do. So shall I get into the news? Shall I get into what Rich Fay had to say on our targets? And then I will talk about that in more detail. So Rich Fay, who's a good journalist for me, said that United will prioritise a midfield refresh at the end of the season. We know that. We've been told that a million times by a million different journalists. But he also added something that we're interested in adding, a versatile forward to the squad, which again is what other journalists have mentioned. And they could be in the market for a reinforcement at fullback if they do go on to qualify for the UCL and have increased fixtures. So what Rich Fay is saying is, if we have increased fixtures, we will then look at fullback because we'll need a bit more defensive depth because we'll have more games. I think if we're in the UCL next season, we need a DM. We need someone that can play DM, but also happy to play centre mid. And then you can be more of a prospect, and then a third centre mid. And that third centre mid could be more of a prospect, a left winger for me, and a left back. Now, some people say with Diego Leon, with Harry Ama, should we look at a right back? And we've actually been linked to the Borussia Dortmund right back, and I will talk about him in a second. Borussia Dortmund's right back, Julian Ryerson, has 8 assists in 6 Bundesliga games so far in 2026. I think he's got the 3rd most assists in Europe's top 5 leagues after Bruno and Elise. So very good output from right back. So he's definitely someone that we are looking at. But I look at Manchester United, and look, if I'm in dreamland here, I'm looking at Iliman and Jai coming in and going on the left wing. I'm looking at Sandro Tonali coming in as that DM sort of player. I'm looking at Mateus Fernandes coming in as a CM hybrid that could play deeper if need be. And then I'm looking at a third midfielder. Now, we could be anyone from a Sander Berge for a depth and experience, or a Lucas Bergvall, or a Muzakitas. And then that third midfielder, who's not as important. The first two are important. Tonali, Mateus Fernandes, and Jai. Third midfielder, someone maybe young or someone that's just Prem proven. And then we're looking at fullback. Now, you could look at Nathaniel Brown of Frankfurt, a very good left back. You could look at Julian Reierson of Dortmund, a very good right back. It'll be interesting to see if Man United do make a move at left back or right back. I think we're weaker at left back because we've seen Dorga at left wing and Luke Shaw is aging. And I think Mazraoui is very good. But then you could argue we lack attacking output from right back. We've got Harry Amas. We've got, of course, Diego Leon. You could argue maybe right back's where we go. I mean, let me know down below. Would you look at left back or right back? We need to buy players for now, not potential. I agree. But when I say potential, I mean we need to buy 2 top midfielders for now, but the third one could be potential. DeMarco is a wing back for me rather than a back 4 fullback. So I'd probably say no, because we're probably going to play back 4 now. I want someone that can play in a back 4. But under Amarin, I would have taken DeMarco in a heartbeat. Do you reckon Bruno could stay next season? Shed some light. I think Bruno staying could depend on Champions League football. I think if we get Champions League football and a manager comes in and we look at good summer and things look bright, I think Bruno could stay. Bruno's not going to make a decision till after the World Cup. I think Bruno's going to see where we're at. I think if Bruno believes that next season we could do something, we could win some trophies, he stays. I also think with Bruno, he's had 2 opportunities to leave us and go to Saudi. He's not gone to Saudi. I think with Bruno, he's probably more, if a big club comes to me like a Real Madrid, I think it would take a Real Madrid type club to trigger Bruno's release clause. I think if a big club outside of England triggers Bruno's release clause, that is probably going to win a trophy. He may go. We need 3 experienced players that can come in and start immediately. We have enough prospects at the club already. Exactly. And that's why I was thinking Sandro Tonali, Mateus Fernandes, and maybe Iliman Ajay, and then you can bring in a younger fullback and a younger midfielder. I like players like Kvaratskhelia Heller as well for the wing, Rafael Leao. It's hard with wingers because I think Prem proven is a thing now. But also, like, there's not many good wingers in the Prem. Like, Semenyo, a real obvious choice, is gone. So you go to Njai, who I know is playing on the right this season. It is a little bit difficult. I reckon we could get Juve if West Ham get relegated. If West Ham get relegated, I want Mateus Fernandes and Juve. I don't think West Ham are going to get relegated. I want to look at, like, I do worry for Tottenham. Like, let's look at the Prem here quick. I will get into some other news stories. Oh, just turn my camera off there. I will get into some other news stories in a bit. And I do apologise that I'm a bit full of cold. But we look at the bottom here. We know that Burnley and Wolves are going down, realistically. It's going to be one of these guys. Fulham won't go down. It could be anyone from Crystal Palace to West Ham. I mean, Brighton, look at that. Draw, loss, loss. Tottenham and Brighton are right now the worst in form. Leeds have got so much better lately. Forest, I think Forest's team's too good. Tottenham are in an injury crisis. West Ham are getting better. Like, you actually look at it right now, if you're going on form, Brighton and Tottenham have been the worst. But if we're going overall, goal difference, you probably put West Ham there, but they've improved. I mean, it is a risk, but if West Ham go down, Mateus Fernandes and Juve, I would be raiding. But I think they're too good to go down. I can't believe how bad Tottenham are. I mean, it will be interesting to see how Igor Thiago does. His first game was the North London derby. If Tottenham lose the North London derby and Forest and West Ham pick up wins, Tottenham could almost be in the relegation zone. If West Ham had beaten us and then gone and won their next game, Tottenham could have gone in the relegation zone. But Tottenham could go down to 17th. And if West Ham win their next game and Tottenham don't win the North London derby, Tottenham are only 2 points away from relegation, which is actually nuts when you think about it. Would be funny to see Nuno pass Forest and Spurs. No, that's actually a mad one. 2 clubs he used to manage. Yeah, I mean, Wolves and Burnley are definitely going now. But anyway, back to the news, back to the transfer news, back to the stories. So who will be the link to at fullback? So it has been said that Manchester United are monitoring BVB right back Julian Ryerson. Now, this guy has 8 assists in his last 6 Bundesliga games. One of the games he played in the other week, he got a hat-trick of assists in. And if we talk about Delo's attacking output, we talk about Masraouy's attacking output. We do lack an attacking minded right back. I think Delo is a solid player. I think Masraoui is a very good player, but we lack attacking output from right back. We lack an attacking right back. We lack someone that can get forward, and Julian Ryerson is someone like that. I saw this tweet. Players had less assists than Julian Ryerson this season. Every Serie A player, every Liga 1 player, every La Liga player, every player in the Prem besides Bruno, every player besides Elise in the Bundesliga. Best right back right now. Like, the assist numbers he's on, it is actually nuts from right back. And of course, it's the Bundesliga tax. But I think United are looking at an attacking fullback. I'd rather have Dorgu as a very attacking left back and invest on the wing. I actually agree with that. If we can only sign 4 players, it's 3 midfielders and a winger for me. And we move Dorgu back to left back. We've also got Amas. We've also got Leon to come through. I think Masraoui and Delo are solid options. They just maybe lack that attacking output. But if you've got Dorgu as the left back, it's a bit more attacking. So I agree. Yeah. How do Norway get these insane athletes? Mate, Norway just create monster after monster, don't they? But so do the Scandinavian countries. They're producing some ballers in the football world. I think Norway have got a very good squad. Obviously, they've got the obvious ones are like Haaland, Odegaard, but they've got Oscar Bob, they've got Sander Berge. They've got loads of players. There's that centre back that's coming through for Norway, and I don't know what his name is, but we've been linked to him a couple of times, like a young centre back, and he's seen as potentially the next Van Dijk. They've got Strand Larsen, who I know hasn't a good season, but he's a good player. They've got Patrick Berge. I think Norway have got some pretty good ballers. Who's the Norway centre back, young, that's really highly rated? I'm trying to think of his name. Is it like Evan Helland or something? I'm trying to think. I think it's Evan Helland. Apparently, he's really highly rated. Apparently, they reckon he's going to be the next big thing at centre back. So they've created some beasts in Norway. I think Julian's age goes against Ineos's plans. That was the one thing I was thinking, potentially. But you just don't know. You don't know, because I think ultimately we want people in that younger age bracket. And 28 isn't that old. Like, I'm happy to bring in one 28-year-old, 3 players between 23 and 26, and 1 player under 23. Like, I think that would be a good balance. Yeah, I like Sander Berge. I mean, Sander Berge is a third midfielder for depth. Is a really good option. We have a good history of Norwegians as well. We do. I would absolutely take Yildiz from Juventus. I think anyone would be stupid not to. He's a baller. But let's dive into the stories, because I want to talk about our midfield rebuild and why Man United are probably going to do things very differently. Now, Elliot Anderson is the number 1 target. Elliot Anderson is who we want, him and Baleba. Elliot Anderson seems to be City-bound, and Baleba's dropped off big time. The plan that we always thought it would be in Baleba and Anderson doesn't really look like the plan no more. Anderson will be expensive. And this is where Mateus Fernandes comes in. Mateus Fernandes is only 21. He's only 21, and if West Ham get relegated, he'll be available on a good price. And I feel like he can do everything. When I think of Mateus, oh my god, my voice is going. I don't know how long I'm going to be live for today. When I think of Mateus Fernandes, yeah, I think of someone that can do it all. I think of someone that can carry the ball. I think of someone that can win duels. I think of someone that can defend. I think of someone that can create. His movement is good. His passing is good. He's good off the ball. He's good on the ball. I think he's good at so many things. I remember watching West Ham versus Sunderland in January, the game we got a goal in, but he was really good in that game in general, played phenomenally well. He's always been very highly rated. He obviously knows Bruno because he was in the Sporting Academy when Bruno was at Sporting. Maybe that if Bruno stays, you've got more chance of signing him. But I think he's having a phenomenal season. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the Premier League. He's happy to play DM. He's happy to play centre mid. He's happy to play a number of roles. But I think it's the mix of creativity and duel winning which stands out for me. And I saw a tweet on Matheus Fernandes, and I think this was a really good way to describe him. Matheus Fernandes has the ability to dribble, carry, create, press, defend in a block, and is comfortable in every phase of possession. It's a UCL level midfielder in a relegation battle, and I agree. Anderson was the dream, but if you can't get Anderson, you do have to look at maybe someone like Matheus Fernandes, who's third for defensive duels won. Anderson's first by a long way, but Matheus Fernandes does generally play a little bit further up than Anderson and probably has a little bit more on the ball quality. Look, Elliot Anderson's who I want. He's my number one. Matheus Fernandes is a little bit more advanced thinking than Elliot Anderson, but Matheus Fernandes is probably my Elliot Anderson backup. If we can't get Elliot Anderson, I would break the bank for Tonali and Matheus Fernandes. Tonali and Matheus Fernandes would be my two if we can't get Elliot Anderson. Because realistically, we're going to have to do things differently. We could bring in one of Jimmy Fates or Seko Kone into the youth. We can bring one of these guys up from the youth into the first team. We're going to need the depth. Elliot Anderson's probably not going to be available. So you do look at someone like Matheus Fernandes and Sandro Tonali and go, maybe that's what United need to do. Maybe this is what United need to do. Because I'm a big fan of Tonali, I'm a big fan of Matheus Fernandes, and I think that's what I do. Oil club's attracting a lot of players, I agree. He's only 21. People don't realize how young this guy is. He's like a year older than Kobbie Mainoo. He's not like it was a year and a half, but you know what I mean. Anderson was the dream. Shame he has poor taste in where he wants to go next. Yeah, we don't know for sure he will go City, but basically it's strongly suggested in the media that he wants to go City. Last year we were talking about Cunha, and it was strongly suggested in the media that Cunha is a Manchester United fan. He'd like to go to Manchester United. With Elliot Anderson, it's strongly suggested he would like to go to City. We don't know for sure. Pep may leave City. We might get Champions League football. We might say something to Anderson. He might go, you know what, I want to go to Man United. He might look at City's 115 charges. Could something happen there? You never know. But we had a feeling last year Cunha was going to pick us. We have a feeling this year Elliot Anderson is going to pick City. We kind of knew it was Semenya, which is a shame because they've spent over 750 million since they've had 115 charges. They can't even sell out their stadium. Their manager and Pep is probably going to leave, and their fall off could soon begin, and they'll spend money after money after money. But this is what happens when our owners have ignored this club, have not run this club properly for years. All of a sudden, the players we want will look at Manchester City and go, oh, you know what? Maybe I want to go there. That is the problem that we have. We're 33 likes away from 100 likes, people. So please do go ahead and hit that like button if you have not already. It would be really, really appreciated. Obviously, helps to channel out lots every like that you hit. Obviously, hope that you're all having a good Tuesday. In my head, it's Wednesday, but it's only Tuesday today. Is there Champions League on tonight? Actually, there must be Champions League. Oh, yeah, we've got Dortmund Atlanta tonight. We've got PSG Monaco tonight. We've got Real Madrid Benfica tonight. And we've got Galatasaray Juventus today. Tomorrow in the UCL, there's Karabag Newcastle. There's Olympiacos Leverkusen. There's Bodo Inter. And there's Club Brugge Atletico tomorrow. So, interesting games coming up. I think Arsenal have Wolves tomorrow as well. So come on, Wolves. Come on, Wolves. Make that title race interesting. I don't expect Wolves to do anything. So yeah, there is a few games in the UCL. I just wish we were in the UCL. I can't lie. I wish we were in the UCL. Where's Morgan Rogers expected to go if he leaves? Liverpool, brilliant player in my opinion. Probably. I think Tottenham will want him, and I think he'll reject Tottenham. I don't think he's too similar to Eze in the sense of he's more of an inside left or inside right. I don't think he suits what Arsenal do. I think Chelsea will go for him. I think it will be Chelsea or Liverpool. I think Chelsea will want Morgan Rogers. I can see it being Chelsea, to be honest. He's good friends with Cole Palmer as well. Chelsea or Liverpool. I can't see United going for Morgan Rogers, if I was to be completely honest. I want to talk about the goalkeeping news as well. Another position on United's list is likely to be goalkeeper. Anana is likely to be sold, and Bayendir could also leave. Ton Heaton will soon retire, and Vitek could see a return to United and be handed a role. I'm really happy to have Vitek and Le Mans as our goalies next season. Now, Vitek might not like being number 2, but if we're in Europe, sorry, if we're not in Europe, there's no point bringing Vitek back because we're not going to play enough games to play him. I think Vitek number 2, if you're in the Champions League or Europa League, to play in those games is really beneficial. So if we're in Europe next season, I would happily move on Bayendir and bring in Vitek. Saves having to spend on a new keeper. Vitek counts as homegrown because he's academy as well. So, yeah, personally, I would bring in Vitek and have him and Le Mans as our number 1 and number 2 keepers next season. Players just go there so they can win things quickly because at Man U, it's a short shirt. Cass is leading. At Man United, it's worrying with Casemiro leaving because we fall apart when Casemiro leaves, which is why that midfield side of remake is so important, which is why I look at Mateus Fernandes. I think he's a future leader. Sandro Tonali, I think he's got that leadership. Elliot Anderson to come in and help fix that midfield. Le Mans and Vitek would be nice competition. Vitek as cup keeper to begin with, exactly. We can only do it if we're in Europe because otherwise there's not enough opportunities for Vitek. Why can't we compete with Anderson though? Probably offering higher wages. Arsenal broke the bank for Rice early, even when they weren't competing for trophies. True, but Arsenal had 2 seasons where they come second when they were getting Rice. We're off the back of 15th, and where will we come this year? Although we look a lot better this year. The thing is, City offered Gay 300 grand a week, Semenyo like 300 grand a week. We don't want to offer people those kind of wages anymore. But I agree. I think we should throw a bit of money at Anderson and see what happens. I think if Pep is leading Man City, I think that's our big boost. And I think if we get Champions League football as well, it gives us a boost. So obviously yesterday I spoke about Alexis McAllister to Man United stories. I said, obviously, I don't believe a word of it. I don't see it happening. Romano has confirmed he's not aware of anything between United and McAllister. He said, while United are expected to be busy with midfield this summer, he's heard nothing about us going from McAllister that's concrete. But, he also said before Man United make any decision what they do in midfield, it will depend on who the next manager is and if they get UCL football. And that will also determine, which of our targets may be more willing to come. We're not going to get any profit from Onana and Bayendir. But if you could sell Bayendir for 5 million and sell Onana for 10 million and get them off the wage bill, there's about 20 million in there, which helps us out. We are 12 likes away from 100 likes, guys. So if you've not hit that like button, please do go ahead and do so. It is always appreciated. If Forest get relegated, City might want to pay less. Yeah. And it could be our chance to pounce. I agree. I mean, look, I hope one of Forest or West Ham get relegated just because they've got players I want. Don't get me wrong, I'd take Bergwall off Tottenham as well, but Chelsea is going to be all over that. Players just don't move between us and Liverpool. Wouldn't want any. That's the thing. It just doesn't happen. Look, don't get me wrong. If Ryan Gravenberch said I want to move to Man United, Man United should be all over that. He's who I'd want from Liverpool. But that's not going to happen. Alice, who do you think has been the best player this season outside of Bruno Fernandes? Well, at Man United, well, it would have been De Ligt at the beginning of the season when he got injured. So you maybe look at Mbumo. Le Mans has been solid. Harry, Maguire, Leacher and De Ligt have all been solid, but they've all had big spells out. Casemiro, maybe? I think after Bruno, maybe Casemiro. And then probably Mbumo. I think, Bruno number 1, Casemiro number 2, and probably Mbumo number 3 is probably how I describe it. Le Mans has obviously been very solid. Sesko's looking better. Luke Shaw's been solid, actually, to be fair. I mean, Dorga looked really good before he got injured, but I'd say after Bruno, I'd go with Casemiro. Just the impact that he's had, I would go with Casemiro, yeah. Alice, who do you want to win the Prem if it's not Arsenal? Us. If it's not us, I don't know, Villa. Because they're most likely to, but it's not going to happen, is it? Casemiro and Mbumo, De Ligt, Le Mans. Yeah, I'd probably say that. For me, you just have to give Sesko time, it will shine. Sesko's shown some really encouraging signs, so I think with time, Sesko will hopefully shine. Is Jimmy Thwaites defensive? With Jimmy Thwaites, it's more that he's got the ability to drop deep and get the ball off the centre-backs. I don't want to compare him to Gravenberch because it's a very different build, but Gravenberch played DM. And Gravenberch isn't a DM, but he's got the ability to recycle the ball very deep in possession, pick it off the centre-backs because of his ability on the ball. And Jim Thwaites has those kind of traits on the ball. I'd say he's probably more of a box-to-box off it, but yeah. I never warmed to Owen for the same reasons that he played for Liverpool. Which I think, like, for me, if a really good Liverpool player wanted to come to Man United, I'd do it. But I can understand why people wouldn't want it because they've played for Liverpool. But for me, I'm thinking Liverpool outrage. We get a good player, boom. If it like, but yeah, Jim Thwaite's set pieces are nuts. They're actually nuts, aren't they? City want Gibbs White for 70 million. That's a lot of cash. I think Gibbs White's stocks have gone down a bit this year. I think he'll regret signing that contract, Gibbs White, to stay at Forest. I think he will. He could have got a big move. Listen, people, I hope you're all doing well. I am going to wrap up the live show in a second. I'm just going to go through some chat. So if you have any last minute questions, do put them in the chat. De Ligt injury worries me. I think they're debating whether to do surgery or not because they keep saying it's a minor injury, but it's kept a consistent injury that isn't leading. I agree. De Ligt was only meant to be out for a couple of weeks. He's been out for 4 months, nearly. So it does worry me, It's like with Kulusevski. Kulusevski had a minor injury, and he's now been out a year and a half. He's going to be out a year and a half for Tottenham, I don't think De Ligt's going to be out for a year and a half, but De Ligt was having a phenomenal season. We just thought it was a knock. He was going to be out for a few games, and he's been out for most of the season. Nice flag you have. Appreciate that. 110 likes. Big up everybody. McAllister's been poor this season. No idea why you'd want to sign him. Oh no, McAllister's been pretty shit this season. I was saying I was going to sign a Liverpool midfielder at Bugamberg. Look, Sobersla's been their best midfielder. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just, like, if Mason Mount left and you could get McAllister for a good price, I'm not going to say no, but it's never going to happen. Like, it's pointless talking about it. I want to see what we have in these academy centre mid options. 2 centre mid signings should be enough. That's fair. I think we need 3, to be honest. I think we have Mount and Bruno for the 10s. I think we should have Maino. And if we could bring in someone like Bergvall, great, for the 8s. And then if you could bring Matheus Fernandes and Tonali in for the 6s, and Matheus Fernandes can obviously play 8, I think that would be good. And then, look, Sander Berge is a really good option as well. I don't think he's a Casemiro replacement, but I think he's an Agate upgrade. I think Berge replaces Agate. You need an Anderson or a Tonali to replace Casemiro. A third midfielder, maybe for a bit of depth. Rely on the youth. Midfield rebuild. Bruno stays, hopefully. Bish bash bosh is what I do. But listen, people, I'm going to wrap up today's live stream here. I hope you're all having a good day. I will be back tonight with a 10-minute roundup. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.